with market making, we're hoping that we've appointed 10 primary market makers, and we're hoping that they will be able to improve liquidity and market quality in the market. Securities lending is a process where if you have securities that you're not doing anything with right now, you have an opportunity to gain additional income by lending that security out. And what that does is it allows for a more efficient market, because for every securities lending transaction, you're able to do 2 trades in the market. When you've borrowed it, you sell it, and then you buy it back at some point. So all of these initiatives are geared towards improving efficiency in the market, improving liquidity, and allowing for investor confidence to come back fully, because you know that when you buy a security, there's somebody there that is you're going to be able to sell to when you want to exit the market. With regards to the measures we've taken to make sure that we enforce the fact that you cannot naked short sell, we are going to make sure we communicate widely. We would make sure that the rules around short selling are widely available. They're also on our website. And that the penalties, like today in this workshop, we've told people what the penalties are. And so we're going to have a zero tolerance policy in place. We will not, once we find out that somebody is actually purposefully naked short selling, we will not take it lightly. We'll move quickly. 10% on the value of that trade they have to buy back. Those securities will put on a watch list, and we can even take away the market making registration that we've given to a market maker if they become a serial offender.
One more time, can we please give ourselves a round of applause for being here tonight? I'm indeed very delighted to be here with a very beautiful and intelligent Ireti Doyle. Can I have a round of applause for her, please? It's been 17 wonderful years, and the Pearl Award still continues to wax stronger and stronger. Please, let's give the organizers a round of applause.
Before the Pearl Awards, the capital market was seen as an elitist market, but we have been able to contribute in demystifying the capital market, and of course today, everybody knows that the capital market is the place to be, and we're happy that the winning companies of the Pearl Awards have been able to achieve greater strides.
The purpose of this program at the Nigerian Stock Exchange next week, on Monday, is to provide delegates with an opportunity to look at what does capital markets mean. Capital markets is a phrase that it's often thrown around and everybody thinks they understand, but actually looking at the building blocks. So FX, money markets, equities, bonds, right the way through to an IPO, looking at understanding the perspective of a company as they going through an IPO, and the perspective of investors. So if we can look at those building blocks and understand each one and understand how they interact.
Today has been primarily about the big picture financial markets as a whole, so you can set the Nigerian markets in context, looking at some of the basic differences between fundamental approach to the market, a technical approach to the market, looking at foreign exchange, and looking at the money markets essentially as a lead-in to the rest of the course.
This is a platform where we can learn the skills necessary to deepen our markets, increase visibility of our markets in the global economic space, and eventually, but bottom line is deepen technical skills.
What we are trying to do, our value-added services are key elements of the Nigerian Stock Exchange's business development effort. We have about 200 listed companies today, and these companies have made strategic decisions to be listed on the Nigerian Stock Exchange. They want to make sure that they are realizing the value of actually listing on the Nigerian Stock Exchange.
know, right now we have the market makers, and we also have approved the short borrowing. And apart from that, really, we are trying to also keep encouraging Nigerians to keep investing in the market by, doing quite a lot of things, because what we are trying to do actually is to bring confidence back to the market, because the whole issue is about confidence. And I think once we succeed in bringing confidence back to the market, a lot of Nigerians will be investing back into the market. There are a couple of companies that we believe that, we are talking to, and also talking to the government to make sure that they come and list in our market, so there will be additional stocks, where people will have their choice of investment. And I believe we'll be able to achieve this within the next 1 year or so. Obviously, we would like the foreign investors to also come more, because it is a sign of confidence in us by them coming to invest. But even though we have to be careful about hot money, where when there are issues abroad, it will affect us here. But the market is all interconnected, both local and international. So you cannot really segregate which one is a local market, which one is a local investor, which one is a foreign investor.
The starting point for market surveillance is actually to look at the rules and security laws in Nigeria. Based on that, we create matrices that can measure, violations or activity around those rules. So we also set benchmarks. So if the variable exceed the benchmarks, it's going to trigger an alert, and it's that alert that we will analyze to see whether what is happening is a deviation from the norms. And if it's actually a deviation from the norms, then what we try as much as possible to do is to go into investigation. And if we're able to confirm that truly there's a violation of a security law, not necessarily the rules and regulations of the Nigerian Stock Exchange, because if it's a violation of security law, we also have the mandate to report to a sister regulatory organization, be it SEC, be it CBN, NICOM, and the rest, about the violation. So once that is done, that is after investigation, the next thing is for us to do, enforcement, and that is bringing enforcement in terms of penalty, in terms of caution. We can also caution, whoever has violated the rules of Nigerian Stock Exchange or securities law in Nigeria.
I think it's a fantastic idea. I think it's a great step for the capital markets. As you know, the exchange has been at the forefront of advocacy around the forbearance for stockbrokers under the kinds of conditions that will ensure that stockbrokers who played by the rules are not generally tagged and penalized with the rest who did not, but that those who didn't play by the rules are appropriately dealt with so that the markets can recover. So we're extremely pleased by the forbearance. There are still a number of other things that we need for the market, and we will continue advocating for them in conjunction with the rest of the community of stakeholders in the capital market. But this is a fantastic development, and we're very pleased about it.
Since 2003, we've been trying to develop the sovereign bond market in Nigeria, and we have been taking various steps towards that. As you know, recently both the JP Morgan and Barclays Bank made the announcement to include the Nigerian sovereign bond in their index. That shows that from their point of view, independent assessment, the Nigerian bond market is developing, even though we have still some more challenges to deal with. But it's appreciated all over the world that we are doing the best that could be done to develop the bond market. Now, going forward, we appreciated there was need to appoint a government stockbroker so that the FGM bond could be actively traded on the floor of the exchange. The FGM bond is now well traded, but it's being traded over the counter, which is good. But in every economy, you also need it to be traded on the floor of the stock exchange as well. So what we have done by appointing Stanbic IBTC stockbrokers as the government stockbroker for FGM bonds is to ensure that the FGM bond is actively traded on the floor of the stock exchange. That will, among other things, ensure that retail investors are mobilized to participate, because most of the trading over the counter are done wholesale. But we also want the whole process to be democratized. You want the ordinary Nigerian to participate actively so that the process of development is inclusive. Now, in selecting the IBTC Stanbic, we have adopted a very rigorous process. We had to make it an open competition. There was standard or invitation for expression of interest. And in doing the selection, we made sure that the selection was not done by DMO alone. The Association of Stockbrokers were involved. The Nigerian Stock Exchange was involved. The Central Bank of Nigeria was involved. The Securities and Exchange Commission was involved. The Central Bank of Nigeria was involved. Which means at the end of the day, the stockbroker that has been chosen is one that has a high level, very strong credibility. Which means in the next few months, we expect the FGM bond to be actively traded on the floor of the exchange. We expect many retail investors to be mobilized to buy and sell FGM bonds.
With regards to other things that we've been able to achieve this year, I'm telling the local and international investors that Nigeria is open for business. The economy is one of the fastest growing in the world. The markets are very attractive, they're very open. You can easily access them, bring in money through the certificate of capital importation process and take them out. The market structure is greatly enhanced. The regulatory programs are there and continue to be improved on to create a fair and transparent marketplace where just and equitable principles of trading rule. So we have zero tolerance to market infraction. We want investors to come in and feel confident that they're playing on a level playing field. And then finally, the returns that this market is currently giving are very hard to match and beat anywhere else in the world. So Nigeria is a market that you cannot afford not to look at when you look at your portfolio globally.